Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. This is Cyrus, your favorite supernatural lecturer who desperately needs a haircut, stuck in a lockdown in a faraway city. Just doing videos like this, hoping to get some information out there concerning complex metaphysical spiritual subjects. Tonight I'm talking about why does New Age spirituality attract the wrong kinds of people? Which is something that I've struggled with a lot ever since I really went public with this information, began writing books, and managing big communities online. And as a moderator at the Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics Facebook group, I have dealt with all types of people on that group. I keep a kind of minimal interference policy in the sense that I don't censor people based upon their ideas. I really, really hate that in groups, especially with these types of topics. When somebody doesn't follow the narrative, they end up getting kicked. You know, they think that they've made a perfectly good point or a perfectly valid post, but because a moderator personally disagrees with that opinion, they get kicked out. I think that there was no worse, more unclassy behavior than that. But what I will do is if somebody posts something that I think is a load of rubbish, I'll argue about it and debate with them on the thread. And that's fine. I do kick people out who practice preaching, trying to shove ideas into other people's throats, sometimes literally preaching, saying that we're all going to go to hell unless we do X, Y, Z. So stuff like that. But in that whole smorgasbord of different characters that we have to deal with on the very large Afterlife Topics group, there's a fair share of people that I would describe as complete and utter narcissists, sociopaths, basically crazy people that I have. These days I sniff them out much more quickly and I get rid of them, sometimes without warning, which may cause people to say that I'm being unfair, but I can tell right away if we have like a total narcissist, sociopath, weirdo in our midst, and I get rid of those people very quickly. And it's one of the reasons I think the group remains so harmonious, and why I think it's one of the best communities on the internet is Afterlife Topics. But this leads to a bigger problem, which is why does the New Age spirituality realm attract a lot of narcissists and a lot of creepy people and a lot of sometimes very scary people? Why do other groups attract fewer? What other subjects attract fewer people like this? Well, there's some somewhat obvious reasons why this is. I'm sure you probably know of a few of these reasons. When I reveal them, it may not be a big surprise, but it is something to contend with, and especially for anybody who wants to work in this area or do public speaking in this area or lecture about these topics, whatever it may be. Before we go further, you are watching Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics, where we talk about this kind of stuff. It really helps out if you go down, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video if you think this can help somebody else. Does a lot for a micro channel like this one to keep it on the road, to keep it going if you think that this stuff is important. And of course, a quick special thanks to the patrons who have made all of this possible. I owe you guys. Thank you for supporting this work, and be sure to drop me a line if you want to get in touch with me. I always make time to hang out with and chat with patrons for anything that they need. So to continue. So why is it that New Age spirituality attracts the wrong types of people? The short answer to that question is power. And I'm going to say that this dates all the way back to ancient Egypt and long before, to shamans and chanting around bonfires, to a bunch of cavemen. They're making a connection to a higher frequency of existence, which is, some would say, the normal frequency of existence, the higher world, the afterlife, heavenly realms, which is really, as we discuss on this channel, not even such a big deal. It's just another frequency where many people lead surprisingly normal lives on that side, and they go about their business, and they have their lives, they have their existences, we have ours. We swap between these different worlds, the gateway being death, and that's the story of life on this planet, it seems. But most people suffer from ignorance about the subject, and this has always been the case throughout history. There is this veil of amnesia in place over all of us, where we don't remember our higher selves, we don't remember our astral selves, other lives, concurrent lives. This veil of amnesia keeps us focused here in this reality, which maybe we need that amnesia to be able to get the most meaning and satisfaction from this life. Because of that, when someone does crack through that veil a little bit, automatically people will come to that person for answers and help and assistance because they are now in communion with the gods. For a temporary amount of time, such people may enjoy being of service to other people this way because they can speak to deceased people or whatever it may be. They can glean information, and they realize people's lives are being benefited, and they enjoy that. But slowly, the attention gets bigger and bigger. They begin to receive riches because they become more and more valuable, and as this happens, that kind of dark ego level personality begins to rear its head, and they want more and more power because now they realize that they have a way to fulfill all their personal or selfish desires. Now they can get all the money, if someone so inclined, they can get all the women that they want. They can get whatever it is that they want. They have the money, the power, the riches, and that becomes their priority. Other people will then envy that person's power, money, riches, and girls, whatever it is they have, and then they will want to follow in their footsteps, even if they have to become a charlatan to do it, because they want a piece of that power, a piece of that privilege, and some of that opportunity. And so the pattern continues, and this is what we see in the current age. So this subject combined with politics, I think, can be the two sleaziest subjects because they can be the two quickest paths to power. So somebody who wants power, somebody who needs that from other people, somebody who wants to obtain all of their own selfish ambitions, sometimes the easiest way to do that is to come out and pretend to be some kind of spiritual guru with all the answers, because that scam still works even after however many thousands of years it's been being done. Like one of the oldest tricks in the book you see in Los Angeles, people who want women, people who want status, they buy a rental car that's like a Porsche, and they print out some fake business cards and call themselves a movie producer. They walk into the nightclub, they say a bunch of BS, they walk out with the hot lingerie model, and that is their mode of getting power. But it's not just a male thing either. Women do the equivalent thing for whatever greedy purposes that they may have. In fact, in the New Age field, I find this kind of scamming to be very common among female demographics who whether it's faking mediumship abilities or just faking some kind of a communion with a higher power and using that to amass wealth and attention. And usually that is what they are after: wealth, attention, notoriety, fame, whatever it may be. Now, when these people are coming in with this very dark, selfish intention, when the metaphorical, sleazy, fake TV producer in Hollywood, comes knocking, I think most of us who have legitimate empathic, sensitive skills, we know right away who we're dealing with and what this person's intentions are. And that's what you have to use around these people. That if you get this gut level feeling that something isn't right, then be very mindful of the person that you're in touch with, the person that you're communicating with, especially on the internet. Be very, very mindful of people who seem to be creating an order or a movement. So this is oftentimes the end goal that they want, is they want to be able to have a following, they want a flock, and they want to be able to be the teacher, who can come down like Moses from the mountain with the 10 Commandments and be able to impart all their knowledge onto the masses. And sometimes they even delude themselves into thinking that they really have some kind of knowledge that they can impart to people. But what they demand is this unquestioning loyalty and reverence. And again, this is probably a manifestation of some type of clinical narcissism when people are using the New Age spectrum to obtain those fantasies. But you can oftentimes smell them out because they will not tolerate having their doctrine and their order questioned. They will go into a rage if anybody dares go against the grain of what they're teaching their followers. I've seen entire groups on Facebook ran by sometimes one person who will be teaching some specific thing, which I could sniff out very quickly to be a bunch of nonsense. For example, one way you'll know that you're dealing with nonsense is if the topic of an afterlife is being misinterpreted to fit someone's very narrow, specific view that they want to teach. Here's an example, which I'm just pulling out of a hat. But do you remember like the cults like Heaven's Gate? What if somebody says that the afterlife is very specifically your soul transfers to a big extraterrestrial spaceship, and they're teaching everybody this, and you come along and you say, well, I appreciate this point of view. Here's all my research showing that, in fact, you have free will to go wherever you want when your soul separates your physical body into astral worlds or other worlds. If you want to go hang out with ETs, you can do that. And then you end up getting kicked out of a group or band or whatever it may be, because now your perspective is interfering with that person's narrative, that religion that they're trying to create. And that's just one example. There's many other examples of the way they may try to force fit ideas of an afterlife or things you have to do in this life to get saved, or that you have to do to get redeemed, redemption. Another great example, I think, of something like this that saw its ultimate, this kind of the ultimate destination, or the arriving at its ultimate pinnacle of success, is Scientology, made by occultist L. Ron Hubbard. And L. Ron Hubbard basically cooked up a bunch of nonsense about it skewed misinterpretations of what the afterlife is really like, skewed misinterpretations of reincarnation and spirituality, and as well as extraterrestrial philosophy or concepts. And he put all that together into a New Age religion with a veneer of self-help coated around the outside. So the self-help veneer was called Dianetics, the self-help movement. L. Ron Hubbard, his motivation was stemming, I think, from that narcissistic personality that he had, and also that strong desire to somehow prove to himself that he is a worthy person. It kept him as one of the world's most prolific writers. I think L. Ron Hubbard has a record of having written the most amount of science fiction books or something. And heck, maybe a few of those books were even all right. Maybe he did have an amazing gift of creativity, but he eventually channeled all that power that was inside of himself to create this basically New Age cult religion, which saw through to the ultimate completion of him becoming venerated as a deity almost. And something that persisted long beyond his mortal end. And Lord knows, I'm sure L. Ron Hubbard, even today, probably is up to his same old tricks over on the astral spectrum, probably creating religions and philosophies and seeking to be venerated just as much as he was here. So people like L. Ron, they're still out there. There's a lot of budding newcomers and people who want to make their own religions and things like that. They're all over the internet, always polluting the subject, always looking to take advantage of people. And very often people in this world, in the New Age spirituality world, because they may have these priorities, can be some of the worst people you'll ever meet. Some of the biggest narcissists, craziest people who I would not want to spend a lot of one-on-one time with. There's also some of the best people in the world, because the people who are awake and connected to their true selves and connected to their spiritual purpose in life. So there can be some of the best people in the world and some of the worst people in the world in this area. It's up to us to push the bad people out. So let's keep pushing them out. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep being aware of those warning signs so we can keep the bad apples out of this apple basket. Thanks for watching. Head to afterlifetopics.com. Books like you see on the screen down below, The Afterlife and Beyond. If you want to learn more about what happens when you kick the bucket, you can get in touch with me personally down below, or you can help keep the channel going by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/afterlifetopics. really helps, again, keeping the show on the road, as I made this into basically my full-time job, managing the communities, working on books, doing YouTube channels and videos and stuff like that, as I try to get this information out there while also being able to eat. So I'm really grateful to all you guys helping keep this operation going, and I'm never going to stop so long as you guys are helping support this. So thank you again. All right, hope this video was of some assistance and some help to you. I will catch you guys on the next video.